up, Fire Pit fam? This is George.
And this is Anthony.
And we're back at it again. Thank you for coming around the Fire Pit again. Episode actually 1 this time.
Oh, shoot. On the desk.
Well, we promised we'd be back this week, and we are making good on our word. We have we told you about our segments, Embers and Echoes, right?
Yeah.
George is here with a great story about a Hispanic serial killer for Mexican Heritage Month.
You had that so backwards. Guys, we have
I did?
Mexican serial killer for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Thanks, buddy.
There you go.
Always there for the assist.
So again, this was to kind of, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month and entering into the spooky season, we're going to give y'all a segment about maybe some kind of Hispanic folklore or maybe some kind of creepy story, some kind of serial killer. And we were actually able to find one. So this is cool.
Yeah. So he's, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of Dahmer, Jack the Ripper, friggin' Ted Bundy.
Zodiac Killer.
The great serial killers of Netflix. I mean, if you're not on Netflix and you're a serial killer, what are you doing?
Obviously not being successful at it.
Yeah, get a better KDA, bro. That means kill, death assist for any, Call of Duty game, Wild Rift.
I like that you're like, what the frick is that, bro?
Sorry, for my fellow nerds. Anyway, I mean, yeah, he's just going to tell you about a great story. I'm pretty sure you've never heard of a Mexican serial killer, but...
I know I haven't. Or hadn't.
I don't think I have it either. I mean, we got cartels and shit, but they're not really serial killers. Sorry, I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just trying to put you in the mood for Spooktember,
Yeah.
So, George, without further ado, stop making them wait. Tell our friends what you got in store for around the fire pit.
I drank a pumpkin spice latte.
Oh my god.
And he's lactose intolerant.
It sucked. I'm not going to lie. Actually, it was with oat milk. It sucked. So if you guys see me kind of jittery, that's because of the pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
I don't typically drink too much coffee, so it really gets my batteries just revved up.
Have you ever seen a hamster on caffeine? That's this guy right here. Not gonna lie. Yeah, not gonna lie. For the first time, I had a pumpkin spice latte. I don't get it. So if you Yoga Becky's in the comment section want to tell me, what the hype is about. Maybe it's just a Starbucks pumpkin spice thing. I don't know.
I call bullshit.
I went to 7 Brew, so I'll try Starbucks tomorrow. Yeah. We'll give you a review.
All right, so we're going to title this The Cannibal of Atizapan. I hope I'm saying that right.
Sheesh.
That's a hard name to pronounce. And I speak Spanish. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. What are you doing? That's your first language, sir.
All right, so I want you to imagine the perfect neighbor. Maybe not the president of the HOA, because let's be honest, nobody likes the HOA.
Fuck the HOA.
Yeah, fuck the HOA.
We'll quack it out.
But I want you to imagine a 72-year-old man who lives down the block, very kind, caring, looks out for his fellow neighbors. Mm-hmm. Hell, even seen as a neighborhood leader, and occasionally invites the police force to events.
72-year-old. Bro.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm doing at 72, but it's not killing people.
Definitely not. So this story takes place on May 14, 2021.
Aye.
And it is surrounding...
Wait, during COVID?
Andres Filomeno Mendoza Celis. COVID killed more people than this guy.
Well, duh.
The real serial killer. So Andres is the name of the gentleman that we are actually talking about today. And his last victim, which was sadly seen last on May 14th of 2021, and her name is Reina Gonzalez Amador. So for the sake of this video, we're going to call her Reina. So Reina was dating this 72-year-old man, also known as Andres. And she was a married woman. But it wasn't a perfect marriage from what I understand. So they did have their problems. Let's say they were separated. But they kept in constant communication. And Reina informs her husband that she will be going into town to buy some supplies for her small business she had a small cell phone business, I believe. So she's going into town with Andres who they have been dating for 3 years.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, they've been dating for 3 years, so it's been a little while.
Hiding it from the husband?
No. I think he's aware of it.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I think he's aware because they were separate at the time. So they go into town, and she goes missing. And her husband, Bruno, is actually a police officer.
Oh, shit.
So Bruno begins to search for his wife, and she is nowhere to be found. He becomes desperate and frantically starts a search party to look for her.
Gosh.
And his last suspect and person of interest is no other than Andres, also known as the Cannibal of Atizapan. But no one knew Andres as a cannibal. They knew him as an upstanding citizen. Andres was known to cook food and share it with his neighbors.
Ah, sheesh.
And he would actually go from between town to town. So Andres wasn't a native of the town he was at, which is Cimatlán de Álvarez, Oaxaca, Mexico, is his origin town. And Atizapan de Zaragoza was the town he was living in at the moment.
Zaragoza.
Crazy names. I know. They're very long in Mexico. So he would go from Cimatlán de Álvarez to Atizapan de Zaragoza, just back and forth. Mm-hmm. And along the way, sometimes he would offer people food. He would cook it up into carnitas, and people would, they liked it. And they occasionally would ask him where he got the meat from. And so he had the perfect excuse. Oh, it's just wild boar. And so people had no idea, and they would eat this food and they would enjoy it.
Oh no.
Yeah. But it gets crazier. So Reina goes missing, and her husband Bruno begins a frantic search for his wife. And he comes to the conclusion, because him and his wife are in constant communication, that Andres was indeed the last person that she was seen with. So he starts, with the help of other officers, searching for her. And he begins to pull video surveillance from various businesses. And he's actually able to track and locate the last locations of her phone. And what do you know it? It's around the neighborhood that Andres actually lived in.
Oh, shit.
Yes. So he begins to question Andres. Have you seen my wife? You were last seen with her. And Andres, being a slick person, is able to evade capture and lie to Bruno with what seemed to be the honest truth. But something didn't rub something didn't rub Bruno right about Andres. His attitude just seemed a bit off, like there was something suspicious about him. And so Bruno begins his search again. And this time, he gets the help of other police officers on the force, because remember, he was actually a commander on the force.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, so he goes and knocks on Andres' door again. And so a quarrel begins between him and Bruno, and they're shoving back and forth, and boom, they're able to bust the door wide open.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And so the gruesome scene that would be painted would be a table with, actually, there was a tortilla on it with a piece of meat on it.
Ah, hell.
But what was also there was a corpse. And it was none other than Bruno's wife, Reina. And so then Andres begins to be questioned about the things that he did, and they start to, dig into his home. And they're actually able to locate his wife's clothing and her purse. And they uncover, a torso, some legs, a decapitated head. And so, in the fine words of Andres, he was able to lodge her up on a table, and he began to chop away at her legs.
Oh, jeez.
After chopping away at her legs, he began to actually skin her where there was hair on the body. And then he began to decapitate her. Remind you, before he started chopping off her legs, she was still alive at the moment. But he just begins hacking away after he severs her head. And he describes what was like cutting pieces of steak. So he starts to just chop off pieces of steak, almost like pork chops, I guess you could say, because remember, this was wild boar that he was feeding people.
Thanks for normalizing that for us, buddy.
And so he starts to chop up her body, and the reason for this, there's actually an interesting reason. Andres finds out that Reina was actually planning on getting back with her husband, And after 3 years of dating, he just couldn't have that. He was very jealous, and so he lured her back into the house and stabbed her in the neck. And while she was bleeding out, lodged her up on a table and began hacking away. Um,
Jeez.
and so her body's found. Andres is arrested, and during the search, they go inside of the basement, the infamous basement where Andres would do his work
Ah, hell.
and commit heinous crimes against humanity, right? And so they were able to pull up 43 to 4,600 bones from what I read in articles.
Jeez.
They pulled up about 43 to 4,600 bones. And they also pulled up various cell phones, credentials, I guess you could call them, like IDs and stuff from victims. And they were able to come to the conclusion that within the total amount of bones, they were actually belonging to about 19 victims, 17 of which were women, one man, and one child.
Oh, hell.
And they also found organs, and I guess they call them cubetas, I think, which is actually like, I want to say like almost like Tupperware, I guess you could say, where he was keeping the organs of Reina at the time. And so they arrest Andres, and it totaled up that he had murdered around 30 plus victims from what they know of that he admitted to.
Dang.
Yeah. And this actually took place in a time span from 1994 to 2021. So he was hacking away at about maybe one or two victims a year. At the time of his arrest, he had a total of 30 plus victims.
God dang.
Yep. And yeah, so that is the story of Andres, an infamous serial killer. Um, what do you think about it?
What do I think? I no longer want street tacos.
I just think it's crazy how he went around back and forth from town to town and was never caught in the time span of almost, what is this? 6, 5, 25 years active serial killer. You know what? I think there was actually a study done, and they estimate that, I don't know if it's within all of North America or just within the States, but there is at least anywhere from 19, I want to say like 30, maybe 40 serial killers active at any one time.
Jeez, I think you told me that before.
That's crazy. That they know of, but how many actually get caught or pinned to a bunch of murders?
Yeah.
But this guy, 72 years old.
Because you say active, so that means they're like it's an ongoing investigation or something.
Yes, sir.
God.
And yeah, I just think it's crazy how, we hear of Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy, who, they I'm not saying they didn't have big numbers, that in comparison to Andres, 30 plus people, dude. Bro, those are big numbers.
And if he's 72, he started back when he was like 50.
50, yeah.
Damn.
But that was the spooky. I wouldn't say it's spooky, but I don't know, something just about a serial killer.
That was creepy as heck. What do you mean?
I think he was sentenced to a lifetime in prison, actually.
Bro, that's like a couple of years.
Yeah, so he was 72 at the time. That was in 2021. He would be about 75 right now.
Wow.
Still alive. Kicking from what I understand. I don't think he's actually dead.
I mean, I understand why he didn't get caught, because, there's some, like, I know in Mexico there's cartels, this and the other, so people go missing quite often, and it just gets chalked up to, the cartel got him or something like that, or they ran off and they probably got kidnapped or something. So, who's going to suspect a little, not little, but like a 60 plus, 70 plus man is kidnapping people, or like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I'd hate to be one of the neighbors that found out later on what he was doing with the meat. Because, I mean, the guy... Oh, yeah, so the guy was actually a butcher before.
Ah, hell
yeah,
no.
So he had history of being a butcher. And so when he was hacking away at her, like, he knew what he was doing. Like, this guy was imagining doing, like, pork chops, I would assume. Like, this is like a ribeye, you know what I'm saying?
Bro.
And that's actually what he described it as when they asked him about it. He's like, well, previously being a butcher, she actually, like, cut pretty good, like steaks or something. Like,
dude, what the heck?
I would give you the exact words on the translation, but it's relatively close. I just think it's insane.
How would you say that in Spanish? Or what did he say like it? It was in Spanish that he was, well, I'm assuming he was communicating in Spanish.
Yeah. But there's actually like a whole story in there.
Please don't tell me he said please don't tell me he said like it cut up like fajitas or something.
No. He said
That's terrible.
it was something similar, but not fajitas. He used a different choice of words.
That's awful. God dang.
So this has been actually your Embers and Echoes story.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Fire Pit fam? So what happened was, this is us from the future, editing future.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed from the change of clothes.
No, I'm still wearing a black shirt.
What were you wearing last time?
A black shirt. That's all I have in my closet. Just kidding. So tell them what happened, buddy.
So I don't know if y'all noticed like a weird segment that breaks off in the video you're watching. It actually just kind of ends abruptly. So in our last segment, the GoPro actually shut off, and the camera shut off, but the microphone kept recording. So we're like, hey, let's just stop the camera. Let's stop the microphone. Camera's already stopped, and let's just shoot an outro. And we were shooting an outro, and we stopped the camera from rolling. We were trying to like kind of make it to where we can piece it together.
Yeah.
And Anthony was actually shutting everything off. He shut off the camera, and then the minute he shut off the microphone, some weird stuff started happening in the house.
Yeah, like I was explaining something, I don't know, but I was like mid-sentence and I was talking to you, and out of nowhere I heard something, and I like, huh, kind of thing. Yeah. And then, and then,
the Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. But I just kept going. I was like, I hear things all the time. Voices. No, I'm just kidding. So I was like, I'll ignore it. And then I kept talking. And then he saw my face change and was like, did you hear that? And I was like, what did you hear? And he's like, what did you hear? And we were just like, well, what I heard was, and then you're like, well, I heard.
I told him to say what he heard. Because I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Yeah.
And then the minute it was coming out of his mouth, I was like, let me just throw out there whatever I said. So we said it at the same time.
Exact same time.
And we said, hello. And what was strange about it at the time, so you guys got to keep in mind, we live alone. It's just me, him, and Luna.
Yeah.
Right there. And that's the only, it's just us three.
Yeah.
And at the time of recording, it was... Okay, so I've decided that we're just going to go ahead and keep recording because the camera keeps shutting off. This is like the third time we turn on the camera because it keeps shutting off, which is really weird. This GoPro's new, by the way.
Yeah.
We've only used it.
It's never done this except when we're trying to explain what just happened.
10 times?
Yeah.
Man, that's weird.
I'm watching the time. I'm not trying to be creepy, but that's kind of creepy.
What time is it? 5:04. Okay, whatever. Let's just keep talking.
Yeah.
So we heard the voice, and it was... I don't know if you guys have ever been in a house and you're looking for somebody because, if the house seems empty. So you walk inside of the house and you go, hello? Yeah. Like you're questioning whether anyone's in there.
Yeah.
And I'd ask Anthony, I'm like, what did you hear? He says, hello. And I say hello at the same time. And it was like a high-pitched woman's voice.
Yeah.
But it was low enough so that you could barely hear it if you were paying attention.
Yeah.
And the minute it left our mouths, like we both got chills and
instantly.
We're like, there's nobody here but us, dude. Like, who else would it be?
In fact, we actually got up right away and we're like, oh, someone has to be outside.
Yeah.
Like, it has to, like, it was that clear where it had to be a person.
We both leave really early. I usually leave like at 5 in the morning. Anthony probably leaves like at 6.
Yeah.
And by the time I leave around 5 in the morning, there's already people leaving. So our neighbors. So I'm like, it's probably one of our neighbors. So let's go outside and just check.
Yeah.
Make sure you're not, freaking ourselves out. And we walk outside and we even walk into the street and we're looking around. And it's just, it's nighttime. There's nobody out there.
No one around.
It's dark.
In fact, it's so quiet outside.
Yeah.
It's like creepy quiet.
It's so quiet outside, you could hear the neighbor's dog walking around in the backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a pause.
And we couldn't figure out what made that noise or who said hello to us.
Yeah.
And we just come back inside and we're like, dude, I heard it. You heard it. It's not like one of us heard it.
We definitely prayed after
and
that.
It's not like we said different words when we asked what we heard. We just couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
But he thought it was creepy that, we're basically talking about someone's murder, and as soon as we stopped recording, our our session, we hear hello.
Yep. As soon as like we stop talking about her, we hear a woman's voice asking hello. And now every time that we've tried to explain it, the camera turns off.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. But yeah, we just wanted to record a proper outro too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
I'm not typically the type to believe in stuff like that.
Yeah, no, you're very logical.
Yeah, I'm a very logical thinker. You know, me, it's always facts before feelings. And I just think it's strange, you know.
It's hard to explain something like that. But I mean, it's one of those things where you just either believe us or you don't. Yeah. But I'm not one to lie, and you're not one to make shit up. So. Yeah. But yeah, so this has been your Embers and Echoes. Welcome to, or I'm glad you enjoyed the story, hopefully, and the experience.
Yeah, we hope you guys log in into y'all's devices, and you guys watch our next video. Keep an eye out for our next episode. We'll probably be splitting the segments up for now, just so they're not too long.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys stay entertained by them.
Mm-hmm. Just gonna do a quick little prayer, make sure we're good. All right, this has been George.
And this is Anthony.
And we are Around the Fire Pit.
Later, guys.
Bye.